Hi, I'm Molly.
And I'm Jamie, and this is our From the Pasture with Hired Hand podcast. As the owners of Hired Hand website software, we've been developing websites and creating internet marketing strategies for livestock breeders for the past 10 years.
The majority of our customers are involved in the breeding of registered animals, such as Texas Longhorns, Highland cattle, horses, and white-tailed deer, where the pedigrees are very important. The From the Pasture with Hired Hand podcast examines many of the differences in raising pedigreed livestock for maximum profit. Join us and learn what we're covering today.
Today we're here with Nik Nikodym, and we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming Eddie Wood sale. So welcome, Nik. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, you bet. Thanks, Jamie, for this opportunity.
For those that may not know you or maybe don't know to recognize, put a name with the guy they always see walking around in the Hawaiian shirts. Can you give a little background on yourself?
Yeah, real quick. Right. I often am running around in a Hawaiian shirt and Crocs. Kim and I both served a lot of years in the Navy, out in the Pacific mostly. But anyway, I've been retired for 3 years and have been involved with Longhorns for, pushing 15, 18 years now, whatever the math is. I don't do math in public. That's me in a nutshell. If you haven't met me, please introduce yourself. I try to meet new people at every event.
So let's talk about the history of the Eddie Wood sale. Do you know when it first started?
Yeah, I do. The funny, not funny, whatever story here. It actually started out as a heifer sale, early 2000s. I think that the theory behind it being a heifer sale was not everyone, but a lot of people, membership came to town for the annual membership weekend kind of thing. Someone viewed this as an opportunity to have a heifer sale. Well, then somewhere, I want to say 2015 was the first where it got reclassified as the Eddie Wood Cowtown Classic. I think I chaired either the 15 or the 16 sale as well. Anyway, that's it in a nutshell. I think, like I said, its roots go back to the days of it being a relatively small heifer sale, and now look at it now. It's really turned into one of the better membership sale opportunities. We've got, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but I mean, it's just amazing to me where people are bringing cows from and how many different consigners we have. So, but again, I think Eddie Wood sale itself started somewhere around 2015. Hopefully that answers your question.
It does. And you also bring up another name, Eddie Wood. There's probably a few people in the industry, the newer people that have joined in the past few years, who may not know who he is. Can you give a little background on him?
So Eddie Wood was, I think if you think about the names of the auctioneers now, whether it's Dan Huntington or any of the other guys, back, in the, I'm going to say early days of Longhorns, but, think 70s, 80s, 90s, Eddie Wood was the auctioneer, and he did a lot of just as an example, he also did a lot of, he was a Oklahoma guy. He did the annual sale for the Wichita Wildlife Refuge as an example of that. Plus, he was one of the more prominent cattle auctioneers here in central Oklahoma and Texas, DFW area, that kind of thing. But Eddie Wood was a mainstay for a really, really, really long time. And I have to confess that I actually never had the opportunity to meet Eddie. I've seen him work, but his wife and I and Kim became friends, after Eddie's passing, and I miss her. We miss her dearly as she has passed as well. But I think this is an opportunity really just to focus, on Eddie Wood and Joyce, but more importantly, just think about, or equally as importantly, think about the history of the breed and the TLBA membership that is a growing, living entity, and Kim and I have been around a while, not as long as some, but at some point, you realize that your time in this breed is what you make of it. But I sure enjoyed thinking about Eddie Wood and Joyce, and certainly an honor to be the chair for this year's sale.
So let's talk about the details of the sale. You want to give the exact times that the sale starts and the location?
Sure. So as far as the exact location, the sale is in the John Justin West Sale Arena, and that is in the Will Rogers Memorial Complex. People can start bringing their animals in on Friday. I want to say 0800, I think, is when we contracted to have our back crew there, and I will be there as well, running around probably. Putting these things together it can be a bit fanatic. But anyways, the key takeaway there is you can start bringing animals in on Friday, and we do want all of our animals in place on Friday. We're going to start at 0800. The sale itself, because everything is compressed a little bit here, because it is such a big event, and there's so many other things going on around us that, anyway, to answer your riddle, the sale itself will be on Saturday, the 13th of January at 11 o'clock. And also, as equally importantly, we need to be out of the event center no later than 1200 noon on Sunday. So hopefully that answers your question. But again, some of the key takeaways there, if you don't mind reiterating, is in place on Friday, sale 1100 on Saturday, 11 o'clock on Saturday. Got to be gone by Sunday at noon.
And what about the sale day contacts? Who should they call if they have questions?
Well, that's a good one. Our back crew person is Tessa Wheeler, and she always does a great job. I don't have her number handy and nor do I think she may not want me to give it out, but if somebody needs to reach out and contact me, they can. My number is 405-230-0848. Again, 405-230-0848. And, we'll try to accommodate as best we can. But I would also tell you that, I don't anticipate, phone bidding. I think that's pretty much the thing of the past. So, if you call me asking to bid for you, the answer is probably yes. Please log into Hired Hand. I don't know that I can do that, but I mean, certainly if you're having troubles getting to the event or whatever the case may be, sure, I'd love to hear from you, and we'll see if we can help.
Yep. And if for those people that do have questions about online bidding, they can always contact me as well. I think my number's out there on the bidding site. So
yeah, and again, if people have questions about leading up to the event, Pam Robinson with the TLBA office, people can reach out and contact her, and her number is 817-625-6241. And, if Pam or I can't help you, we can probably get you in the right direction. Yeah.
And what about the auctioneer and pedigree reader? Who's doing that?
Yeah, it's going to be Dan Huntington this year, and Dan always does a great job. I've learned to really appreciate Dan Huntington's effort. I kind of get a kick out of him. Every once in a while, there's a cow that seems to struggle in the sale ring, and he just works his little butt off trying to get every nickel for the seller. I don't think that Dan has really lost sight of the fact that the auctioneer kind of works for the seller, and and I've always appreciated Dan's effort. But Dan Harrington is the auctioneer this year. And I don't know if it's going to be Chase or not, but I would assume that. It seems to be the Dan and Chase show lately, so I'm going to assume it's Chase Suit, but I don't know that. I can't confirm that. But Dan Harrington is our auctioneer.
I think you're correct. I think it is going to be Chase this year for the. He'll be reading pedigrees.
Yeah, like I said, Dan and Chase has become the comedy duo.
So you mentioned Tessa is going to be handling all the animals in the back. If somebody needs to drop their animals off early, or if they maybe, having some troubles, are going to have a late arrival, is that who they should contact as well, or should they contact somebody else?
Yeah. So, this is the whole Fort Worth stock show. I want to, set people's expectations right here, without coming across like too big of a jerk. But we're very limited in our availability to receive animals other than Friday. It's a very scheduled, orchestrated thing, and we're scheduled and orchestrated to receive animals on Friday, sell them on Saturday, and get the heck out of there on Sunday, because there's so many other events with the stock show associated with the stock show. So I'm probably not answering your question, or maybe not giving people what they want to hear, but this is not, a sale barn in, on exit 42 in Missouri. This is a much more well orchestrated event. And most of that stuff is out of our control. So please make sure that you're complying with those, those requirements. And if you do run into trouble and I can help you, please do reach out. But just be advised that, miracles by appointment only, please.
Well, and I think for those people that have been there before, they understand why there's so many strict rules about when animals can be dropped off and picked up. There's lots of people everywhere. And then even Saturday after the sale, they're in there immediately afterwards cleaning it, because I believe there's another sale there early in the afternoon in that same arena, if I'm correct.
Right. And thanks for bringing that up, because, our sale is going to be, we've got 90-ish lots. So I don't know. It's not, we may be going, and I think back to the days of Eddie Wood, and a lot of those early sales, there were, 200 plus animals in a sale. So the auctioneers and the back crew and everybody, they went at a different speed, than, some of the sales you see nowadays. So just be aware of that. We are fighting a timeline, and thanks for bringing that up. But it's going to be a great sale. I don't want to discourage people, but I also want them to do this with their eyes and ears open.
There's always haulers available at sales, but do you know of anybody ahead of time? Any haulers?
Yeah, that's a great question. I put out a couple things on. They've got a website, a Facebook page, and I put something out there. And I've talked to a couple of them now, and we'll get something out once we start getting confirmations on that. And hopefully you'll have I've seen on Hired Hand where you have an opportunity. I don't know if it's notes or chat or what it is, but we'll get word to you to get to the folks. But in a nutshell, yes, we will have haulers. I'm not really prepared to give names and numbers right now.
Okay. Yep. And again, for those people that are bidding online, I'll be sure to message the names of the hauler along with their contact information, so online bidders know who's available to take their purchases back to the ranch. All right. So one last thing about the sale details. I think you've had a few other people helping you with the sale this year as well. Can you tell us who the other people are on the committee?
Oh, yeah, sure. So long story short, which I can never seem to do, the actual Horn Showcase Committee also, I'm going to say, owns and operates and runs the Eddie Wood sale. As I was on the committee, Horn Showcase Committee, actually coming off this year, they asked me if I would chair the Eddie Wood sale, and I said, sure. Like I said, I may have mentioned I chaired it once before. I'm looking forward to doing it again. But as far as other members who, committee members that have assisted, Josh Gentry, of course, Blake, Matt Bourbon, Natalie Cheney, Karen Allen, and myself. And of course, you really can't do anything TLBA event wise without mentioning Pam. Pam does a great job, has done a great job with Horn Showcases And I forget how long she's been with the organization, but also assists greatly with the World Show and, of course, the Eddie Wood sale.
Love what you're hearing? Be sure to check out our Pickup Truck Confessions.
It's a video series where we hop in the truck or rental car and interview a variety of breeders about what drives their passion for their livestock, how they got started in the breed of their choice, marketing tips, and more.
And now, back to the podcast.
Okay, so let's talk about the consigners. Do you know how many there are? It seemed like when I was looking through the catalog, there was quite the list of consigners this year.
So that's probably one of the neatest things about the Eddie Wood sale. I mean, literally, to answer your question, we have 47 consigners, which is a big number, which is really a huge number, actually. We've got people from California, we've got people from South Carolina, we've got people from Florida, Michigan, Indiana, Arizona, and of course, middle of America, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. It's, a lot of the other sales that people participate in seem to be more regional, but this seems to be an organizational sale, which I appreciate, being a TLBAA member. We actually, had to turn away quite a few animals, unfortunately, because of our space restrictions on how many animals we could get in the building under roof. And 90 is a lot of animals, yes. But, I just kind of regret not being able to accept all of the people that submitted consignments to the sale. It's unfortunate, but, it is what it is. And we did the best we could with, trying to spread the opportunity as far as we could. So, but yeah, to answer your question again, 47 consigners, that's a big number. And, from California to South Carolina, I think that's really cool.
Are any of them first-time consigners?
Yeah, I think that we probably do have some first-time consigners in the sale. It's certainly, I don't pretend to know everybody, but there's a few names that I haven't met yet. But I'm afraid if I mention, who I think might be a first-time consigner, they actually aren't, and I'm probably going to miss somebody. So I would just ask your readers, your viewers, whatever, listeners, we'll go with that. If they are a first-time consigner, then make a comment, let us know. But while on that subject, if you don't mind me rolling into just a couple of other things about the sale, and I think back to, and I don't want to focus on any individuals, but I know El Coyote, as an example, has really participated in the sale since the beginning. And again, this year they are consigned, and they have been high selling animals in the past, several times. And El Coyote's involvement in this sale has been, a long-standing relationship, and they've got lots 5A and 5B in this sale this year. Also, I want to mention Greg Smith, the Triple S Bar Ranch. He's got a couple animals in the sale. He's also a sponsor for the sale. And you asked about, who else is involved in the sale. You really can't put on an event these days without sponsorship. And I certainly want to thank Greg Smith for putting his lots in. Those are lots 39 and 60. But again, there's a lot of moving parts, and again, couldn't put on sales like this without sponsors like Greg Smith and longtime consigners like El Coyote. So I know you asked who were the first timers, and I will just tell you who the long timers are and who the sponsors are. I hope that answers your riddle.
It does. Are you ready to talk about the consignments?
Sure. What do you got?
All right. So you mentioned earlier that there's 90-ish lots. I think there's a couple of lots that might be choice. Any updates that people should know about any of them?
Yeah, I would just tell you, or I would ask your listeners to continue to check the Hired Hand website. I know that there's a handful of updates one of our we had an embryo lot. I believe that was 64. Looking at my catalog real quick here. Yeah, it's lot 64, and folks have decided to bring an animal instead of embryos. So that's a change that's coming. There's been a couple of updates with regard to animals that have calved, and somehow I think I messed up on one exposure with a bull or something. But so again, the auctioneer is going to have all the updated information, but we're also supplying updated information to Hired Hand to update the Hired Hand site, Hired Hand Live website. So hopefully by the time we get to sale time, we'll have all the updates and be good to go. But as far as some of the choice lots, I don't know how to answer that question because we do have an awful lot of really fine animals in this sale. People can build a program, a really substantial program with opportunities that are available in this sale. But the way I put the sale together, and I think most people who do this, you kind of start out with some of the younger animals and not necessarily end up with the older animals at the end of the sale. But you certainly want to hang on to some of the better animals in the sale towards the end. And I will tell you, I did that on purpose. As I flip the pages here, basically anywhere from lot 80 on to the end of the sale are some of the better mature animals in the sale, and kind of do that on purpose to keep people around and in their seats, kind of thing, and their arms in the air. But other than that, I think I will say that I think that there's going to be animals for just about all breeders and enthusiasts of the Longhorn breed in this sale. I think, I don't want to venture to what the high selling lot will be, but I think it's going to be a pretty good number. And I think there's going to be some lower selling animals. And I think we all have varying different answers on what a lot of money is. So I don't know how to answer your question, but I think we'll have cows for everybody. And like I said, I started out with some younger heifers in the sale, and then we move on to some of the more mature animals. And then at the end, I've hung on to some of the probably the better mature animals, or that's where you'll find some of the better animals is at towards the end of the sale.
So you mentioned that there's a couple different choice lots. Can you explain to people that might not know what that means or how those lots will function?
Oh, like A and B, like 5A and 5B?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens? That's a great question. I definitely need to explain that a little bit. So how that happens is, if there's two in that particular 5A or 5B, they will bring both heifers into the sale arena, and you will bid on, bid against your bidding competitors for the right to own that animal. Now, if you say, you win the bid at, $6,500, then you will have the opportunity to pick which one not previously sold that you want, whether A, B, C. And if you want all three or all two for the money that you bid, then congratulations, you can have them both for that number. That's basically it in a nutshell. It's not, you're not bidding one money for both animals or all three animals. You're bidding for the opportunity to pick which animal you want, or pick all three or both or whatever the case may be for that money if you are the winning bidder.
And I think there's two sets of choice lots, 5 A and B, and then 9 A, B, and C.
Right. Yeah, and again, that's we tend to push start off the sales with the younger animals, and most of the ABC lots or 1, 2, 3 lots will be younger animals.
All right, so now I have a question for you. We'll see how you do with this. Can you name the top 5 viewed animals so far? Any guesses?
I cannot, but I do. I think I do remember seeing something come out from Hired Hand on Facebook, but you tell me.
Well, do you have any guesses who it might be?
Nope.
No guesses. You're not going to go there, huh?
Nope. Sorry.
I'll run down the list here quick. So the number one most viewed so far is Lot 63, Tough Pearl. She is consigned by Casey Springs Ranch. The number two most viewed is Lot 45, Hubble's Classy Gauge. And she's consigned by Mark Hubble. Lot 39 comes in at the third most viewed, 3S Rona Jackie, who's consigned by Triple S Bar Ranch. Number fourth viewed is Lot 31, TT Lily, consigned by Casey Springs Ranch. And then the fifth most viewed is Lot 51, CR Clouts Rain Cloud, and she is consigned by Garrett Hubble. So
that's sure interesting. Yeah, no, those are all great animals.
So then also to kick off the sale, there's a couple lots before we get started with the animals.
Yes, thanks for mentioning that. Looking through my catalog here, I know that we have an opportunity for people to buy one of the Prime Choice covers is the July AI Sire Directory cover, and that's going to be on auction for the Trails magazine. That's going to be on auction as at the Eddie Wood sale. And again, I think Lot B, prior to Lot 1, will be some opportunities to support the Texas Longhorn breeders of tomorrow through some auction items.
So should we talk about last year's sale just briefly for a little bit?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I went to last year's sale. I was, again, I was on the Horn Showcase committee, but sure. What do you got about last year's sale?
Well, I thought we just mentioned that there were roughly around the same amount of animals in the sale. I think last year there was 88, and there were 3 cash cows last year. Do you remember who they were?
Ooh, no.
No. Okay.
Putting me on the spot here.
Okay. The first high cash cow was ECR Beautify Heart from El Coyote, and that one sold for $53,000. The second cash cow was Golden Bug CRL from Bob Larson, which sold for $20,000, and then the third cash cow was Hubble's 20G Special, consigned by Mark Hubble, and she sold for $10,000. So maybe we'll see if we can break those records this year.
That'd be cool, huh?
That would be.
Yeah, like I said, I think we've got some really strong animals in the sale, and this sale has really developed. Like I said, it's a membership sale, and I think between the TLBAA office and people that have chaired it in the past and myself, we try to make the opportunity available to as many members as possible. And again, it's not about me, but it's just as an example, I'm not consigned to the sale because I didn't want to, take up an opportunity for somebody else. I just don't think that would have been fair. So, I think it's neat that we have as many consigners as we do. And fortunately we've, in years past, several years ago, we were really restricted to something, short of 70 animals. And we've been able to pry some more additional pen space to make additional availability for the sale. But 90 animals is really the top end. I think that's all the animals we can fit under the roof.
So earlier you mentioned Greg Smith was a sponsor. Do you have any other sponsors for the event?
No, Greg is our sponsor this year. And again, Greg Smith with Triple S Bar Ranch. We certainly appreciate him. And again, his lots are Lot 39 and Lot 60. I think one of his was one on your most viewed list, which is neat to see. So I think it's a great opportunity to sponsor events like whether it's this, whether it's the Horn Showcase. I think there's an underutilized opportunity in sponsorships of events with the TLBAA to either further your brand, further your footprint in the brand, in the breed, that kind of thing. So I applaud Greg Smith for taking that on. And, I think sponsorship's important and we appreciate it.
While the cattle are meeting on Friday, the meetings are also happening at the same time.
Sure.
Do you want to talk about what meetings are happening at what time? And then also there's a new location, I believe, this year.
Yeah, the new location for Friday meetings and reception is the G. Carter exhibit building. The stagecoach room is more specifically, but I can read down the list. It's in one of the front pages of the magazine, which hopefully people will receive. But Friday, January 12th at 9 o'clock a.m. Affiliate presidents meeting at 10 o'clock is the TLBA board of directors meeting. At 1 p.m. is the TLBA general membership meeting. That's always fun. And at 5 p.m. is the TLBA special awards presentation. So moving right along from there, Saturday at 11 o'clock a.m. is the Wood Cowtown Classic sale, of course. At 4 o'clock that afternoon is the TLBT Texas Longhorn Breeders of Tomorrow meeting, and that's at 4 o'clock. And at 5 o'clock is the World Show Committee meeting. And again, like I said, on Sunday, the Longhorn shows really kick off. At 12 p.m., the World Qualifying TLBT Youth Show. And on Monday, at 9 a.m. is the World Qualifying Haltered Show. And at 3 o'clock is the World Qualifying Non-Haltered Show. So it's going to be a long weekend for a lot of us, particularly those that participate in as many of the events as possible. I would encourage everyone that's in the area, if you can, make it to the Friday general membership meeting that you do. A lot of us are going to be busy with the sale, and I can understand and appreciate that. But if you do get your animals dropped off in plenty of time and checked into your hotels or whatever the case may be, and you can find your way to that general membership meeting, I think it's great to see it at least once. If you've never been there before, you ought to check it out.
And you mentioned the new location is the G. Carter exhibits building. Where is that in relation to where the sale is?
Yeah, I would just encourage people to look in their catalog. I believe it's second or third page in. There's a map that shows gives the layout of the Will Rogers Memorial Complex and tells people where they are, where the meetings are more directly. I don't know how to answer your question other than that.
Okay, no worries. There's just a lot of buildings at the Will Rogers, and sometimes
there sure is. And again, thanks for the TLBA office, we've been able to get space a lot closer for many of the meetings.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have everything there in the one location versus driving, I don't know, what is it usually, 15, 30 minutes to the hotel.
Yeah.
And for those that can attend, the meetings will be streamed on Friday on Hired Hand Live, so they can tune in just like they would to watch any other sale.
Oh, that's neat. I don't think I knew that. That's cool.
Any other details that you want to mention about the weekend? Because I know it's always really busy there. Do you know any insider tips about parking or anything like that?
Insider tips about parking? No. The Will Rogers Event Center. First of all, I think they do a really great job getting either whether it's breeds in and out or events going on. Like I said, it's a highly orchestrated thing. I can remember having to park my trailer different times, in many different locations based on what is available. So, if this is one of your first times coming to this event, I would just ask that people be aware of that and conscious of that. You're going to be asked to park your trailer, pretty far away. Why does that matter? Well, a lot of us are, want to feed our animals through the weekend kind of thing. So, plan accordingly is what I'm saying, because you're not going to be able to make easy. You can access your trailer at any time, of course, but it's certainly not the easiest thing to do to drive a mile away to where your trailer is. So I would just ask the people, plan accordingly, whether that's, put the feed in the back of the truck instead of in the trailer, that kind of thing. Just be aware that trailer parking can be, I'm not going to say a challenge because there's always an opportunity available, but it's certainly not in the same parking lot as the event.
Well, and I know a lot of times after the sale is over, many people will head out and go to all the different vendor halls that they have available. Like there's quite a few of those.
Yeah. No, it's a stock show. It's Fort Worth stock show has really become, one of the premier events, not just for the Longhorn, but for the agricultural industry as a whole. I think the Fort Worth Stock Show is really beginning to rival some of the big ones, whether that's National Western, whether that's Cattlemen's Congress, whether that's Houston Livestock Show. I think Fort Worth is really coming along and really on par with many of those.
Well, do you have any closing remarks that we need to talk about as we're ending things?
No, I think I've said the name Greg Smith enough, but again, I want to thank him, and I certainly want to thank El Coyote for all their continued support as well. And I guess Horn Showcase Committee members, Horn Showcase Committee Chairman is Josh Gentry, Blake Neer, Karen Allen, Matt Bourbon, Natalie Cheney, and of course myself, a couple of years. A lot of people working really hard behind the scenes to put these events on, and Horn Showcase Committee, along with our sponsors and longtime consigners, really, that's what makes an event. And looking forward to having another great one.
Well, thanks for joining us and giving some information about the weekend. And we will see everybody on Friday, January 12th.
Hey, thanks so much.